Hi, it's Mitch from HARDINTENTIONS YouTube channel, and I got a special guest on here today, a friend of mine that I'd like to have him introduce himself to y'all.
My name is Brian Ingram.
All
Prison
right,
name Lyin Brian.
Lyin Brian.
Yeah. Back in the old days, I kind of cut that loose, with my ego.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I talked to somebody who's in prison, man. They said, "Oh, Lyin Brian." I said, yeah. So, how you doing?
When my sons went through there, they all still knew me. Oh, you're Brian's son. Come on over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they kind of screwed it on the coattails because I had 3 sons that went to prison after me.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
and then I got one that's in 18 years old, moved to Utah, being a law enforcement. Because
Oh,
he
wow.
can't be one here in Sacramento because of me and his brothers. So,
Oh, wow.
you know what I mean? The difference is I was loaded and then in the mix the whole time they were growing up. And with my 18-year-old, I wasn't. You know what I mean? I stopped getting loaded when he was 3 years old. So I got 15 years of no drugs or alcohol. So that was life-changing, for me.
That's pretty cool.
And for them.
So, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Stockton till I was 18,
All
in and
right.
out of juvenile facilities, single parent home, mom.
I was
waitress.
single parent, so
Yeah, well, she was a waitress, never at home.
did you ever know your dad, or did he cut out, or die?
No, I didn't know my dad. I didn't even know who he was until my wife found some other family members on the internet later.
All right.
Seen one picture of him. I remember him maybe once ever.
Yeah.
You know
So,
what I mean? So,
you grew up without pops in the house. Was there like a stepdad, or
what's that?
was there a stepdad or anything like that?
No stepdad till I was later, until I was an adult.
Okay.
And he really was a good man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really good man.
How'd you do in school and all that kind of stuff?
Well, my junior high school years started out the first year of busing in Stockton. So they took a bunch of white kids and bused them to minority neighborhoods. 250 of us, put us in a school of 2,000. And I fought my way through high school and junior high school. I showed up every day and kicked some ass every fucking day. And then I went home on a city bus because that's what I did every single day. Because there's a lot of victims, but from the beginning of my life, I was never one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and they tried. And they learned.
Like my youth authority days, kind of.
Right.
Yeah, that's so your education. I mean, if you're going to school fighting all the time, then you're not getting that much attention on your education.
Right. Well, I've always been pretty sharp, but my education was just that. It was hit and miss. I was mostly educated from reading while I was in jail. I don't know anything about mathematics or anything like that. I've never needed anything like that in my life. I've always been mechanical. Since I was a little kid, I was taking shit apart and putting it back together. So it's only fitting that I'm a master BMW tech now.
Yeah. So were you in and out of juvenile hall as well?
Yep. Mostly for fighting.
Right. So like what kind of influences you have outside of going to school and getting in fights? I mean, who was your influence on you as far as like adult?
Well, I really didn't have any, my mom didn't have much to give me. So had all these kids around me getting mini bikes for Christmas and all that stuff and all the things that I wanted. And, and nobody wanted to share with me. So what I ended up doing, I cut school, go through the side garage door of their house and burn their mini bikes up before they got home from school. You know what I mean? Nobody, it's just, I wanted more than it was able to be provided for me. I was looking for something else, without a father figure. Always, I had some counseling, when I first got in recovery that touched on some things that I never realized, you know what I mean? So don't knock that shit. Like if you end up in some kind of recovery program and there's counselors trying to help you open up a little bit, you might learn something about yourself.
Yeah.
It took me, well, I'm 57 now, so I got 15 years clean. I think within my first 6 months of getting clean, I had a counselor bring some stuff to me about some trauma, around situations and stuff with my brother and stuff like that. And it opened my eyes to how I shaped myself. Because like I've been reading some stuff on my wife's a teacher and she has a preschool, and so I was reading up, I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. And the first 7 years of a child's life is the most important. That's when they're most receptive. So what they're taught and see in the first 7 years of their life, the rest of it is subliminal that they go through the rest of their life. That is the most important part of their life from what I've read.
Right.
So, in my first 7 years of my life, I was with babysitters and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My little brother couldn't talk. I could. So they never abused me, but they beat my brother, spank him, do whatever. And I was helpless. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of things, when I was able to not be helpless no more, that's where a lot of my violence, a lot of my ego, and a lot of the fears come from. It's fight or flight, and mine was always fight.
Yeah.
So, so a lot of that comes from that. It all stems from back then,
Right.
because, I wasn't the nicest guy. You know me as me now,
Yeah.
kind, giving, volunteer, hardworking, and all that shit. I wasn't that man.
I had similar experience, but I had a stepdad. I had babysitters. They were kind of cool and all that, but I had, a stepdad who was an alcoholic. He was a Korean War vet, and he was a roofer, and he's a drunk. He was violent. Come home one day, be nice, and come home next day and want to beat your ass for missing, not picking up all the dog shit in the backyard or something.
I didn't have that. I didn't have a male figure in my household that treated me that way now.
Yeah. So, but I understand that, the fight or flight. So, I was an angry kid, and I took it out on other people. People would piss you off, insult you at school, and you beat their ass and whatever,
Right.
Yeah, it's just, you don't understand it when you're a kid, but as an adult, you figure it out, hopefully, And so, growing up in Stockton, that's, I was in youth authority with some guys from Stockton, and it's always seemed like a pretty rough area,
Yeah, it's from between the 10 years old and 18 years old is when the Mexican gangs really started.
Yeah.
One of my classmates in 6th or 7th grade, I remember coming to school and them telling me that he was dead. And we found out that somebody walked up to his front door, knocked on it, and shot him point blank in the chest with a sawed-off shotgun at 6th or 7th grade.
Wow.
That's how they were then, you know what I mean? And so when I was younger than that, I don't really remember much of that kind of activity. But as you get into high school, junior high school, you start hearing more of those kind of things happening. And it was predominantly Latino gangs in South Stockton, and mostly white people. They called it Okieville, East Stockton. I'm not from that part of Stockton. I was from North Stockton, which was a lower middle class neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much either of that, you know what I mean? So my mom pulled us out of South Stockton, moved us to North Stockton, try to live us in a duplex, give us a little bit better schooling and stuff like that. You know what I mean? My mom tried everything she could, to do what she could with what she had. She loved me and my brother. And I'm lucky I still have her. She lives close by. I get to see her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She,
Well, being a single mom's not an easy job,
Right. No, I know.
Especially in that area. So did you ever end up in youth authority?
Yeah. I was in OH closed when I was like 15. And then got out, stayed out for quite a while, and then moved to my mom moved to Sacramento, moved in with her boyfriend when I was like 17. I was staying with some friends after I got out of YA. And then that fell through. As soon as I turned 18, they weren't getting any money for me anymore. It was like kicking me to the curb, you know what I mean? I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I moved to West Sac with my mom and stayed there, I guess. Well, I caught my first prison term at 18. So I was 18 for, I lived there about 6 months.
Really?
6 months after that, I caught my case and ended up going to prison.
In West Sacramento?
I didn't catch it in West Sac. I caught it in Lake Tahoe.
All right.
And it was for me and a couple of dudes jumped in this little Toyota truck one of them had, and we're rolling around in the snow up there and just doing dumb shit. And we broke into a summer vacation home, had nothing in it, no furniture or nothing. We go back out and go down, we get pulled over. And these two, I'd already been to YA. These two dudes are start talking about the things we'd done and cars we burglarized and this house we went into, and just started telling them all this stuff, right? And I wouldn't tell them anything. They had us separated. I'm like, I'm not telling you anything. Yeah. And so that new law in 1984 had just come out, you know, it was not indeterminate sentence anymore. It's 246 for first degree burglary, which they put me on, gave me 4 years at 18 years old
Yeah.
for residential burglary. And the reason they were doing that in Lake Tahoe is because the month before, Liberace's house had gotten burglarized. It was a big fucking deal in Lake Tahoe. I mean, they took a lot of shit from that dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were looking for anybody like that. And they were using him as an example. At 18 years old, that guy that wouldn't talk, straight to state prison. That's
Yeah.
where they sent me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They're gonna
So,
teach you a
that's
lesson.
where I got started. C60429. That's my C number from 1984 at 18 years old. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, 84. I think I've been in the pen. I've been down about almost 5 years, 4 or 5. Yeah, 5 years at that point. But yeah, so I know what it's like going to the joint that as a teenager. You went to reception center, what in
I was in Vacaville. Yeah, I was Vacaville at that time. And then they shot me to Susanville on the 2 yard. And with 4 years, and they called that a violent crime, residential burglary at that time.
yeah,
And so I didn't have any chance to go to fire camp. I guess if I would have worked my ways down. And so, you know, I was just on the 2 yard there, dormitory living, 4 years in prison. And then I didn't go to dinner one night. They were having a liver or some shit. And I was sitting on my bed.
yeah,
And there was a partition between, I was actually in the bathroom taking a shit, and there was a partition, and then there was a dude sitting on his bed right there on the end. He was talking to somebody else, and he was talking about molesting kids.
oh wow,
And so I hit him in the face with a mop wringer. And so it's my opinion that CDC took metal mop wringers out of the prison system because of me. I picked up a mop wringer out of the mop bucket, walked around the corner, and hit him in the face with it
yeah,
on the spot. He was getting ready to get out, and he was telling this other dude that he was going to reoffend. He still had urges. I was 18 years old, and I just had a baby daughter. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so, and I already been to YA, and you know what I mean? We weren't having none of that. That's when those kind of things didn't go. They can run around the yard now with immunity, but then,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
And back then, you know,
And the dude that was sitting next to him didn't tell on me. Somebody else told on me because I left the dorm, and
Yeah.
some dude was trying to get a time cut, and he saw me. He said he saw me leaving the dorm. They didn't arrest me for it for like 30 days.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then they put me in the hole and gave me a court case and all that. I beat the court case. They sent me to Old Folsom. when it was
So,
still
you know,
up.
back then the staff actually didn't mind seeing those guys get, you know, what they had coming.
No, they used to open the doors in DVI all the time for us back then.
Yeah.
All the time.
So,
They'd leave notes, the snitches, all that. They didn't want none of them people. Even the cops used to leave notes. The lieutenants and captains would just ball them up and throw them in their trash can. And then we would just get the trash can, tie a knot in it, and throw it in the big garbage can where those cleanup crews, the janitorial crews are going through their offices. And they would be within 2 days, they'd be gone.
oh, you mean all the snitch kites guys?
Snitches, yep, people dropping kites.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
They probably have a system to that fucking shit now where they don't give up their names no more. But they used to put their names right on the fucking notes.
I think
You
they,
know what I mean?
so I think we had an idea nowadays they give them cell phones
Oh, is that right?
because information gets to the staff so fast now. There's no way it could be through a kite, you know?
Look at this dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Killer. Yeah. So you went to Old Folsom in '84?
Yeah, no, it was so I caught my case in 84 and 85. I've been down about probably maybe a year through
Yeah.
this whole process, going to court, going into Susanville for a few months, going to the hole and going to court through the Lassen County court system, and then going to Old Folsom and 4 North 8
Yeah.
and in the hole. And then when I got there, I was there maybe 2 weeks. They never let me out of the cell. They reclassified me and sent me to DVI.
All right.
So I went to DVI in 85. Yeah,
So basically, they just sent you to Folsom
as a holdover.
I don't think Susanville really didn't have an ad seg big time.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they got a hold, but they did. It was only for you know, for what was going on there, but you were out of there as soon as you could. There was only 1, 2 Cascade and Sierra Yard then. It wasn't like the new prisons and all that out there. They had a fire camp and they had the 2 dormitory yards. One was level 1, one was level 2 back then.
So if you're gonna be like long-term in the hole, they would send you out like to Folsom.
Oh, they didn't want me in there. That's for goddamn sure. You know what I mean? Even if there was a chance that I did something like that, the judge told me, you know, if this inmate dies within 100 days, we'll bring me back here on murder charges, because he thought I was guilty, but they didn't have enough evidence to, you know, do that.
Yeah, they need a couple witnesses that are willing to testify and all that.
Yeah, and there's I know all about that. It's called in re camera or some bullshit like that. They had to be snitches before to be a real snitch to get on a stand. They had to have a proven case behind them. I learned all about that shit during that case. Yeah, so you know, they couldn't just be fresh snitches. They had to have something under their belt. Somebody had to be convicted on them. So I beat it because of that. You know what I mean?
So you hung out in Folsom for a little bit in the hole.
Very, very short time,
and then shot over to DVI, which is crazy.
DVI was back then. This was still when the inmates ran the fucking the asylum.
And when Tracy was still it was
Gladiator School.
Yeah, it was a tough guy prison.
Yeah.
A lot of stabbings, a lot of violence.
Yeah, I wasn't even there within a week, and we were being escorted to Chow when we were still in what do they call it?
Fish Row.
Yeah, Fish Row, but it's different now. But back then it was orientation.
Yeah.
So you stayed there for a week until they looked at you. You went for a front of a board and they placed you in a fucking dorm somewhere, or not a dorm, but a cell, because they didn't have dorms then.
Yeah.
But so we all ate together, all that. So they walked us down like fucking army men down the fucking strip, and then so somebody popped out of one of those fucking chow halls, went right into the fucking middle of us. The cop in front of us is leading us. He comes behind the cop, walks in our crowd, puts a fucking knife in somebody's neck, this Mexican dude's neck, and then pulls it out and hits him in the forehead with it and walks in the other chow hall door. Fucking gone just like that. And that dude is fucking leaking all over the floor. You know, I'm 18, 19 years old going, what the fuck? I'd never seen anything like that. You know, I mean, this is just like a prison movie, the most violent ones you could ever imagine.
Yeah,
I'm seeing it right in my face with blood splattered across my shoes. You know what I mean?
Real life.
So yeah, I got right real fucking quick. You know what I mean? My head was on a fucking swivel. Luckily, through the reception period when I was in Vacaville, I had done some stuff there, and there were some old timers around that fucking swooped me up right when I got there. And, you know, I already didn't have to go through no bullshit, no testing, none of that. I was like under the wing right away.
Yeah.
So,
you know, it's one thing when, you know, you fight and you fuck guys up, maybe hit some guy with mop bringer, you know, all that. But when you see guys, you know, for me, you know, I got a stab in the pin, but then I seen the dude get stabbed in the neck and the back, and, you know, he died within, you know, he was dead within a couple of minutes. It's an eye-opening event, because now you realize, look, you know, I'm in a place like, you know, tough guys, you know, fight, all that shit. Now you're in a place where tough guys will
kill you.
They'll kill you.
That will kill you. And that wasn't the only fucking time that kind of shit happened. Because I was there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I was dude, so going back to my sentencing in 84, 85 is when the halftime law came into effect.
Yeah.
Indeterminate sentencing went away, and then there was determinate sentences for crimes. You were, you know, 2, 4, and 6, 3, 5, and 7s, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So my crime was committed under the old law, but I was sentenced under the new one.
Right.
So I had caught cases, I'd caught fucking time. I was going to max the 4 years out. And then they probably would have fucking tried to keep me there past that. But at about 3 years, 6 months, we had a riot in DVI. And then they reclassified everybody. That means every individual in the prison had to go in front of a board, and because they were going to clear it out. They were they needed it was getting out of hand. There was a lot of fucking people in there doing some fucking. So they decided we're going to shoot all these people to New Folsom, because they had just opened, or San Quentin.
That's around 86.
Yeah, it was 86 for sure, mid 86. Either they were sending them to level 4s, and there wasn't very many of them at this time. None of those Cochrane and all that shit wasn't built yet.
Yeah.
So what they did was, when I got in front of a classification, the warden was a little Asian dude, right? Little tiny motherfucker. And the Sacramento Board of Prison Terms came in and go, he's sentenced wrong. He should have been out 6 months ago, because they could have, my maximum was 3 years, could have been 3 years on that case. And I
Right.
was already at 3 years and 6 months.
Well,
So
under
they
the old
said-
law, if you
Right,
got a
I should have been sentenced under that, all the write-ups I got, the
Right.
115s for 180 days, which was very many of those, and
Right.
90 days, 60 days. They had to give me all that time back.
right,
all
because
of, I
of
think-
the old law, if you got a murder and you
Yeah,
got to
you
write
can-
up all the.
Yeah, if you stabbed a CDC officer, it's 45 days.
That's all.
That's
they
the
can-
maximum they could add to your sentence back then under a
Right.
disciplinary action through the CDC,
Yeah,
not
they-
through the courts. That's a different story.
Yeah, but
if
once
it- if it
halftime
could be-
came out, they could take, 180
All of it, yeah.
days, 90 days, whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so it was a completely different world. I was playing under their new rules the whole fucking time.
yeah.
Believe me, if I would have known I was under the old law, there would have been a lot more motherfuckers hurt during that time I was in there. And that's no bullshit, because that's the kind of fucking dude I was. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I picked the shots, because we picked shots back then, because I still had a date. I was still getting out. I had shit to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I would have known that they couldn't, punish me for any of the things that I was fucking doing, they told me, so you're going to be out in 2 weeks. If you sign the halftime, well, you can sign up right now. You'll be out in 1 week. I told them, fuck you.
Yeah.
Put me back in my cell. So they didn't send me. I stayed basically on lockdown until I paroled, because we were under a lockdown.
Yeah.
I came back to my cell. Everybody's like, yeah, they're fucking sending me Folsom. They're yelling down the tier and shit. I'm like, I'm going home, motherfuckers. And they're like, what?
So while
And
you were there was, I remember that time, because I was in San Quentin and I went to Vacaville for some programs later on, but I remember that time frame. There was some white dudes got killed in their cell.
It was a black and white riot.
Yeah, there was
That was
black
a
and white riots. I remember a dude from San Jose stabbed the black dude, and then they killed the white dude, and it just a lot of back and forth killings.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty violent one. Yeah,
The Southern
a
Hispanics,
lot of hand to hand too.
blacks.
When I was, my involvement was hand to hand. You know what I mean? I just was getting down with one dude. We
Yeah.
both got down when they started fucking shooting and shit. You know what I mean? We didn't. Neither one of us wanted to be fucking killed. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? We just were the closest to each other. You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
big deal. You know what I mean? It was just what we did. You know what I mean? I got no fucking hard feelings whatsoever.
yeah, it's just the
You know what
way
I mean?
prison was, man.
That's what you had to do. You know what I mean? And you wasn't doing anything else. If you was, then you was gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
And like when they start shooting, if you don't get down, they will shoot you.
They will shoot you. Yeah.
And
They were shooting right into the tiers back then.
yeah, so were you there when they put the gun tower in the middle of the yard?
No, but I kind of think I remember, but maybe not. The last time I was actually in DVI was 1996, I want to say, or 7.
Yeah.
Was on a violation on an H number, because I discharged my C number and caught another number, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I don't
You
remember.
got out
if
of
it-
Tracy.
I got out. Yeah, I was out of prison for a while.
So what year do you get out of Tracy on your first term?
I got out of Tracy in 86 on my first term, late 86, and was out for 6 months.
How old were you?
I think I was like 23,
Yeah.
23 or
So
22.
You're still young, full of piss and vinegar. You just did
Oh, yeah.
prison
The
time.
next time, the next time when I got caught the next time was 6 months later with a machine gun in my lap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
That's how I got caught.
When you got out, then now you got a little credibility in the in the criminal element of society, that you might have been fucking around with. So what did you do? I mean, what did you get into?
Well,
I mean,
I didn't have any credibility, because all my credibility, because I was 18 years old and I was in prison through where I got all my credibility. Those motherfuckers, dope fiends and criminals in Sacramento where I paroled to, didn't know me,
yeah,
because I'd never had any criminal activity before that. I was a kid when I went to prison. And so what had happened was somebody told me, go over to this dude's house in South Sac. And I went to him, this Mexican dude. He pulled me in, and I worked his door while he sold dope, right? And I was in doing that like for, I don't know, 3 weeks or something. And a dude just walks in the door and I confront him. And it's dude's connection. And he turned on me, right? And he fucking like, oh, you motherfucker, get out of here. Cause I went right up in the dude's face. What the fuck you doing? You know what I mean? Like it was my job or something, you know what I mean? And he kicked me out. Well, the connection came and looked for me and goes, I need somebody like you.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And then right, it's exactly what happened, you know, and then that dude, I was his connection. I turned into dude's connection, kicked me out of his house. Yeah.
You got involved with a dope selling.
Yeah, meth, yeah.
So you got caught with a machine gun.
Yeah, I had a machine gun in my lap with a bandana covering it when I got pulled over.
Yeah.
You know.
So I bet the cops freaked out when they seen that.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
So you went back, did you get a new charge for that, or you
I
just
got a new charge. So I was in a stolen car. I had a machine gun, and I think I had dope on me at the same time, right? And so they rolled up on me. I was sitting, and they fucking back then they had teams of motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They rolled up on me and got me sitting in a car in front of somebody's house, and machine gun on my lap, bandana over it, dope, and the car was stolen. So they pull me out, and when they take me to jail, they go, hey, who's what did he get caught for? And the guy goes, and then the fucking cops were like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, so they stuck me in a convict cell and all that shit. But it's funny, I pleaded to an auto theft on that. I had fucking drugs and I had a machine gun. So I never had no guns on my record. They pled me. Back then it was plead them, get them out of here, put them back in prison.
Yeah.
I pled to receiving stolen property and auto theft, and they sent me back to prison for 3 years.
And that's right when they were that's right when they first started building a lot of prisons in California.
Yes, they were filling them with that.
Fill them
up. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So you got how much time did you get on that?
3 years.
All right.
3 years.
What happened during that term?
What's that?
Where'd you go on that term? How'd that go for you?
Let's see. Where did I go on that term? It's kind of a blank. So when I went back, obviously the Vacaville. I think I went to Solano for that term. I was in Solano. I think I was in Vacaville. Oh, here's what happened. No, I was in Vacaville, and my little brother, who was 18, came through there.
Yeah.
And in reception, and somebody told me there's a kid named Ingram here, right? And I said, send him over to my cell, because I went straight back to telling people what to do when I got there. He sent him to my cell. It's my little brother standing there. So I tell him, get the cops to pop this door. So the cops pop my door, and I'm just getting ready to go over to the CDF side. I mean, not CDF, the medical side, the blue side.
Right.
And so I hook him up with the right people. I go over to the blue side. I'm there like 2 weeks, settled into my cell and all that, because, you know, everybody can't go to the medical facility. I had some people in there that had me pulled over.
Yeah.
Middle of the fucking night, somebody comes to my door and go, they're sending your brother to New Tehachapi. I go, because I was trying to get him over there, but you can't go over there unless you're 21. You know, they wouldn't put anybody under 21 in there back then. So I said, hey, get me on the bus. And I was on that bus that same night. They transferred me. We were able to do shit like that back then.
Yeah.
You know, the clerk added me to the fucking transfer list, and I went with my 18-year-old little brother to make sure that he was fucking taken care of in prison.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what
how'd you like that? How'd you like that Tehachapi?
It was a barren fucking wasteland. It wasn't painted. There was dirt. It was an iron pile, and I was fucking mad about it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was bad, but you know, I got in good over there. I was doing well with fucking counselors and all that shit, because I was running the white yard.
Yeah.
And they were like, they were scared up there. If the cop was in Tehachapi, it was because he was new and he didn't have no friends or family that worked in another prison. They sent him fucking there.
Yeah.
So those people up there were like, they signed up to be prison guards, and that's where they got assigned fucking to. And they were scared to death. I'm telling you right now, they were scared of us there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
we had our way with the prison system back then.
Well, you know, back then that was one of the first, you know, when they started cracking new prison. They were sending guys up there that, you know, convicts were different back then.
Right.
We used to do the cell moves, the jobs, the information and food.
Right. Exactly.
We had it our way. Like you said, I mean, you could have anything you wanted in prison back then. If you had money, you had a little game.
Right.
So that's what we were used to doing. That's how we were used to living. And so when they started opening up them new prisons and we started going in there with all them guards, are like, what the fuck? You know, that a lot of them were
they wrapped the reins on it. They tightened the reins on it. They had some officials come in and go, we're not having this no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they started putting motherfuckers in the hole in the shoe programs for years and years to get them off the yard and use them as examples. And they started shooting at people, really shooting at them.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there was a threat of death, they wouldn't shoot you. They'd shoot near you. But when after that, they started shooting people to stop them from use you as an example to fucking for the next motherfucker that wanted to do something like that. You know what I mean? So they got control by, they didn't have prisoner, the CDC didn't have any control over their prisons until about, I would say in the early to mid 90s is when they started taking control. They still didn't have it for the first 10 years of the halftime. The new law.
About 95, 96, they really started getting control.
They learned how to take control of the yards for sure.
Well, they locked up all the prison gang members, the indeterminate shoe programs.
Yep.
And then they started using intimidation, like we'll send you to this fucked up prison, we'll send you to Calipatria, we'll send you to New Folsom, etc.
Yeah, Pelican Bay.
Yeah, and Pelican Bay, you know, and then they also started using more violence against us. Like they would cell extract you, they would beat you.
Oh yeah.
They would gang fuck you.
Yeah, the goon squad. They put them in those jumpsuits. They had the goon squad come out on you.
Yeah, and they would shoot you.
Yeah.
I remember New Folsom, you know, they blew some black guy's fucking leg off. They shot some dude in a northerner in New Folsom in the shoulder, blew his arm off, killed him. Yeah, they were just shooting and killing people pretty regular.
Yeah.
Back then.
Especially like in the level 4 prisons. I mean, like, you know, level 3 Tracy, or, you know, they even turned Old Folsom into level 3.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know, also, Brian, all the guys that were in the pen prior to those new prisons coming online, they were getting fewer and fewer, and more of them were in the shoe. And then a lot of new guys started coming in that never been to prison prior to the new prison. So
they were easier to tame. They didn't have anybody pushing them around, making them do stuff.
And they didn't know how we had it, you know?
Right, exactly. So they let it go.
Yeah, they were like, all right, whatever. I remember they took the hobby away, and Donovan, I was like, guys, like, why are you so concerned about hobby? I said, dude, that's how I make money.
Right. Not only that, but it was an outlet. They started taking more and more privileges away as we went down, and they started stuffing people in dorms and expanding. You know what I mean?
Back in the day, we would have never I remember when they started Tent City in San Quentin, they burned down one of the tents. They got these army tents and put them down there as dorms, and them dudes lit one of the tents on fire. They're like, fuck that. We're not living like this, you know?
Right. It was fucking cold.
Now it's like they just triple bunk them.
Right. Yeah. All races in the same cell, all that shit now.
Yeah, all that. They don't, you know, it's, yeah. I mean, I remember San Quentin, you know, the food manager fed us like shit. They firebombed her office. So they don't, you know, they weren't fucking playing back then. And if
when I was in Solano on one of my terms of my H number, and I was working up in the prison industries up there, and I was a welder. And there was this one free dude who wanted me to sweep the floor, and that's all he wanted me to do. And like another dude, he was the head dude. So I started welding while he wasn't watching, like in the welding shop and shit. And the dude who ran that goes, "Hey, you're a fucking good welder, man. I'm gonna fucking get you in here." And this dude kept denying me. No, he's got to sweep. He's got to earn his shit, this and that. One day there was a fucking tool missing, a crowbar or something. That motherfucker left the facility because he thought I had it. And when he came back, he gave me that job. I guess he recognized, you know, what a punk he was being. It wasn't me. I didn't have the tool. They found it, but that dude left in a hurry when they, you know, because there's a tool count before you leave.
Right.
If tool count don't come up, no one's leaving.
Right.
Stand there.
Right.
And so like a very damaging tool was missing for.
So they don't have a cage with all the tools. They open it up
Okay.
when you go to work. They got a tool room guy.
Right.
He put a chit on each tool. And at the end of the day, every single tool has to be back in that cage.
Right, exactly.
Tons of
Otherwise you're on lockdown. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
well, there was something missing, slid under a table or fucking something, but that dude he was certain that was his day for sure, because he left the fucking facility. I remember watching him fucking leave really fast and wondering what the fuck he was doing. You know what I mean? Because they knew there was a tool missing before we did. You know what I mean? They don't just all of a sudden start announcing there's a tool missing. They know that the staff knows first.
Oh, so he thought he was going to get cracked with it.
Yeah, he did. That's the kind of motherfucker he was being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the truth is I had no intentions on doing that, nor was that it was me that lost the tool. But I know his reaction was like that, and well, maybe it was my ego thinking that motherfucker is scared of me for some reason. When you never know. But
yeah,
within a week, I was working in the welding shop. The guy had dropped all of the bullshit he was giving me and let me go to work.
Yeah, well, that's
because he was fighting me, boy. He was the dude didn't like me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it was my attitude. Probably was.
Well, so you got up out of your second term.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what'd you do when you got out of that?
Well, my second term, in the middle of it, I joined a motorcycle club. 1%er club was, let me go back a little bit. So, I was running around with a few different club members from different clubs in the area, Oakland, Sacramento, in general vicinity, doing some business with some of their family members, some good motherfuckers. And, I was welcome everywhere I went. And I caught a violation. And one of my friends had joined a local 1%er club, and he heard that I went down. He knew I had 4 or 5 kids. So he went over there. He was a prospect. He went over there with a club member, and they brought some groceries to my family to make sure that I was taken care of, because he was a really good motherfucker and a really good friend of mine. But but I had no intentions on going with that club at all. You know what I mean? And then he kept doing stuff for my family while I was locked up. And when I fucking got out, I was like on a 6 or 8 month violation. I went over where he was working at a bar, a biker bar. Thanked him and fucking this and that. And he started, hey, we got this event. And that motherfucker drugged me right into that motherfucker, had a prospect patch on me. You know what I mean? Pretty quickly. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I spent 4 or 5 years with 1%er club as a probationary, because I kept getting locked up around, they only give out patches and brands once a year. And every fucking New Year's I was locked up. So, I ended up,
You say brands. What do you mean?
When I got out, everybody was fucking locked up. My sponsor was locked up. So my life just kind of moved on. It kind of retired that. And the good thing is most people that leave that club are, it's in bad standing. I'm nowhere near bad standing. That club loves me. I love them.
Yeah.
And I see them and associate with them, and all the time. And they're fucking my brothers until I die. You know what I mean? Which is very fortunate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I went to an event with you, with them,
right.
And we associate with a few of them guys together occasionally. And I got to say that all the ones I know are great people. Yeah, they are. They're fucking good motherfuckers. I love them, man. You know what I mean? And I always will. I just outgrew that phase in my life where I needed to be more part of something like that. At that time, I thought I owed something, and it was a great fucking experience for me. And always be with my heart. And I'm a 1%er still to this fucking day. I just don't wear a patch. Yeah. I still do the shit the 1%ers fucking do every fucking day. Yeah. I mean, I live that. Me. Yeah. I live, breathe, and eat motorcycles. I mean, I have my job and my family, and my wife fucking accepts everything I do. When I need to get on my bike, she's fucking happy about it. You know what I mean? She don't give me no fucking trouble. I got a unicorn wife. That's you know what I mean? I'm fucking super lucky. She's not from our world. She's a teacher. She's loving and kind, and fucking. And, she loves me and my family. You also have a group of guys that you ride with. That we're all. Yeah, so I'm in recovery, right? I got 15 years clean and sober. I started out in NA. I've done some volunteering and some social stuff on this out. I did some seminars, self-help seminars and stuff like that with me, and some volunteering. And
I got a group of men, that I put together, we started out, me and Jimmy Lyles, we rode together every fucking where. And then I got Chris involved, Chris started riding with us. That's three of us. And then Anthony pulled Anthony in. And so those were us four dudes were our main core dudes that did a lot of riding together. I'm talking about thousands of miles together. And then,
so how'd you go from being associated with motorcycle club, slinging dope and carrying machine guns to recovery and all
okay,
that?
well, thanks for taking me back to that, because so I was still 15 years ago. Well, let's say 16 years ago on this day, I was selling dope and using and doing all that still to this day.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was I caught a case. It was a small amount. I got illegally searched, got a small amount of drugs, and I was taken to trial. I bailed out on a high bail because I had people behind me. I was out fighting the case. And so we were just getting ready to pick a jury, and caught my lawyer caught the cop lying on a stand during one of the discovery processes. And the judge pulls in the lawyer and my lawyer and says, listen, he's willing to take a drug case. They had Prop 36. Let's give him that, because otherwise I'm going to drop this case. So I took a drug case with a 9-year suspended sentence. I took a drug diversion, Prop 36.
Right.
And so I started doing drug counseling. And I was still using while doing it in the beginning. And then I caught again, and used like a 3 strikes thing. So the second time it was like, listen, I'm facing 9 years of prison time. Let me just give this a shot. Let me just stop using for 6 months. And after I beat this case, because if you beat it and you go through the process, the counseling and all the things they want, they'll drop the case. It'll be off your record. I told myself, let me just do this and get through it. And I never stopped doing it. So that saved my life.
Yeah.
That case, catching that case, that cop illegally searching me, lying about it on the stand, ended up getting a drug program, because they didn't give people like me drug programs. This is a new thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is in 06, November of 06 was when all this was going down. So.
And that was part of the federal courts telling the state of California they needed to lower their prison population.
No, it wasn't that. This was some drug. It had nothing to do with the lowering the prison population. This was a drug diversion program that California had put in place, called Proposition 36.
I think Prop 36 came about because they didn't want to keep sending drug addicts to prison. When they send them to rehab.
It could be. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, and then so I what ended up happening was, in that process, I ended up going to work for somebody who was in recovery, a construction company that was hiring laborers that were in recovery and trying to do shit. And then and when my program came and went, I had already lost the desire to use. I already had a new life in the 6 to 9 months that I was doing it. In 6 to 9 months, if you're doing the deal with other people like you, you're going to find other things to do. You're going to find camping and events and things that don't involve drugs and alcohol. And that's what happened for me. And lots of people will stay out for years at a time, and they'll start using again or drinking or whatever. And that's okay. They have a place to go, but I just never have. And, and as you get to know me better, most of the people I deal with, I'm a BMW technician. I manage a BMW service here, independent service. The people that I deal with don't know where I've come from. They know me as Brian. I got people that fucking love me that are judges, parole officers. I mean, they don't know me, who I am. I mean, if they run my name, they do. They probably have, but you know what I mean? It's I'm not the man that I used to be. And it's all a result of Narcotics Anonymous, and it's the Sterling Institute of Relationships. They help me. Volunteering. I do charity work all year. You've been involved in some of it. It's those things, the things that normal people take for granted, that are wonderful to me. You know what I mean? And so that's how I got clean.
So what was the motivating factor, other than just like
nope, don't want to go to prison anymore?
Just like, I'm done with prison, and the risk.
The motivating factor was, there was no motivating factor. The motivating factor was that my plan was to get clean throughout that court process and go back to what I was doing. That was my plan.
Right.
I didn't want to stop using drugs when I stopped.
Right.
I didn't have a bunch of consequences except for the court case. That wasn't a consequence to me. I'm used to that. I lived it my whole life. Consequences, and when you're sitting in a jail cell thinking I should have went fishing, you know, and should have did more of that, or this, I should have built that car I dream about, or that motorcycle. Those are the consequences. I hadn't reached those yet. So in that 6 to 9 months that I told myself I'm going to give this a try, I found something better.
Yeah.
I found something better with myself. I found value and the human being that I actually am. I didn't have to be ego driven. I didn't have to fucking hurt people. I didn't have to be the toughest guy in the room anymore.
Right.
I just had to be humble and giving and thoughtful and just want to be somebody different. And I became that man.
And you didn't have to risk your, you know, your freedom for,
No,
you know.
no, man, I don't have to do that no more. I have no risk in my life whatsoever like that. There's nothing like that. I live in a fucking great neighborhood. We have a great home.
Yeah.
I have the baddest cars, the baddest motorcycles. I have everything that I fucking need. And every single bit of it I got legally. Every single fucking thing I bought and paid for or built myself. You know what I mean? And that's a big deal to me.
Well, it can't be taken away from you.
It can't be fucking taken away from you, man.
Right.
And you know, and the thing about it is I got convicts that I get messages from on Facebook that have cell phones and shit that I've known for years. We want to do what you're doing. I told them, come on out here, I'll fucking show you. But the minute you fuck up, you're out. You got to go. You know what I mean? You're not coming to my fucking house. I don't bring people to my house that get out. I meet them somewhere. I'll meet them at a meeting, hook them up with the right people, get them on the right foot. You know what I mean? And we've helped a lot of men, the circle of men that I fuck with, all convicts, all dope fiends, all bikers in recovery, because those are my people. And those are the people I relate to, have helped thousands of people in the Sacramento area.
Isn't that
thousands? You know?
I mean, you know,
because
guys,
they want to do what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, guys, when you're in a criminal element, you're using and fucking, you know them, and yeah, it's a good dude, you know, and whatever. And now that you're out of it, and you can help pull them out of that shit and get their life on track, and you see, in some cases, you see what a good dude they really are.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because they're
and everybody knows too. You know, if you look back, if you're in the mix, and say somebody disappears for a while, and you're talking about them, you're hanging out, you're fucking doing a shot of dope or whatever, and hey man, what the fuck happened to Brian? He's doing good. That's the key word. I always remember that term. He's doing good, which means he's not doing what we're fucking doing. He's working. He's fucking got a family. He's not using or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that was the term. He's doing good. You know, it wasn't like if he wasn't, you know, oh, if it was something else, it was like, oh, he's over there. You know what I mean?
So
but I just remember that.
You still run into guys that are using and fucking up?
I do. Yeah.
And how's that?
I'll tell you. So I'm a BMW technician. Not only am I well known in my community of BMW technicians, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and so I learned 25 years ago. So I work with everybody. I work with people in recovery. I got fucking drug dealers. I found a fucking half a pound of fentanyl on somebody's front floorboard while I was working on their car. I work on everybody's cars from all walks of life. I work on judges' cars, parole officers, police, whoever brings me their car in. And then I have a side business doing it. And they're from all elements, all walks of life. I just don't I have people offer me shit. What do you want? You want some of this for that to do work? I'm like, no, I want fucking money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't care whose car I work on. I don't fucking give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got to drive. So.
Yeah. That's cool.
But no, so do you mean like, so I don't fuck with nobody that uses on a personal level.
Right.
I'll work on their cars. It's not personal at all to me.
So what about when you go to like a toy run or ride motorcycles?
No.
You see guys, you know they're using still and partying and.
No, I don't know personally. I don't hang out with anybody that does that anymore.
Yeah.
No, I don't associate with them. I don't show up at the same places that they are. They don't come to the places I'm at, you know, but yeah, obviously I'm going to see people that I know, give them a hug,
Yeah.
tell them hello and this and that, and not really give a fuck what they do as soon as I walk away. They're not really, is there anybody in my life using? The last person that was my brother, and he's got 9 months clean again. So
Yeah, awesome.
So he was the only one that I would associate with that used.
Yeah.
Because he's my brother. So
You basically give him a hi, goodbye, and keep stepping, right?
yeah. Now he's welcome at my house. He's doing good. He's fucking in a recovery home, and getting ready to start a business and stuff, you know what I mean? But he's always known where to go. He's the one that got me my first NA books when I was in jail. I just stayed clean. He didn't. You know, he had a heart issue.
What's your take for guys that are young and in the mix? What's your take on the illegal activity, drugs in prison? What's your take on that? What would you tell somebody that's young and in the mix and headed down that road? What's your take on it? What can they look forward to in life if they continue down that road?
Yeah, it's jails, institutions, or death. That's all there is to it. The percentages are against you for sure. You're working against people that get paid to learn how to catch people like you. Yeah. Now, what I would tell you is find somebody who values you. The people around you should have value, should value you, and they should value your time. And then you should value your time, and you should value yourself. And the thing, like I said, it could have went either way. I could have did that 9 months doing all the program, but if I wouldn't have in the middle of it, somebody offered me a job as a laborer and given me something to do and paid me for it, you know what I mean? And to keep me going, and you just give yourself value and don't be afraid to fucking try to do it, man. You got some interest, like, we'll get to how I got into BMWs here pretty soon. But the thing about it is you got to have value in yourself and start at the bottom. Don't be afraid to, and just fucking work hard, man. You know what I mean? And then you won't need anybody to tell you that you're good. You'll know it. You know what I mean?
And so how did you get into go from being a gangster biker to a BMW mechanic?
So there we go. Now we can get into something I'm more interested in than being a convict for sure.
Yeah.
So I bought a fucking BMW back in, let's see, so I was off parole. I got off in 98. That's the last time I was on parole, was in 98. So I bought a BMW cheap, and I happened to end up fixing it by accident, right? Yeah. Well, it wouldn't pass smog. So I was looking for a fucking place to smog it. I was teetering with it. It had it looking nice and this and that. It was just a cheap one. But back then, having a BMW is a little status symbol, you know what I mean? And I just fell into it on accident. Well, I went to this shop and pulled up there and asked him for help. And then the guy sent his mechanic out to look at it. And he's like, oh, it needs to be adjusted. It's like $100. I didn't have no $100. I'm like, okay. So a couple of days later, I got this idea the dude was really cool with me, right? The mechanic, he'd be just like I am with people now. Well, I stalked him. I waited outside their business and I waited till he fucking drove off. And then I caught him at a gas station and pulled up. Hey, what's up, man? Don't I know you? And acted like it was a random fucking thing and got him to help me with my car, right? Yeah. And through this, I became friends with him. He fucking liked snorting crank. So I was his connection too. And so so he told me, hey, the kind of work you do on this car, you could probably do it for a living. I'm like, oh, fuck, no, I can't do shit like that. In that meantime, my brother borrowed that car from me. And this is when 3 strikes was real big back then, like in 98, 99, they were really putting motherfuckers away. And my brother had a few strikes. And so he got pulled over and there was an ounce of dope in the trunk. So they arrested him for it and they had him in jail for it, right? And he's fighting it. He's going to trial. They're going to put him, they're not offering him no deals. They caught him dead to rights. They're going to give him 3 strikes, 25 years. That's it. You're gone. We've had enough of you. You're a career criminal. Right. And they did it to many of my friends back then. So I know they were going to do it to him. I had this wild idea that right before picking jury, that I went into the lawyer's office, his lawyer, and told him it was my dope. I was afraid. I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to go back to prison. The lawyer went to the DA and said, his brother's claiming it's his dope. The car's registered to him. So it fucked their trial up. So they arrest me. and then, so I'm sitting in jail, and the judge, for, I don't know how I got back out. It was a low bail or something. I got out, and while I'm waiting, my brother's still in jail. While I'm waiting to go to get charged with this, I decide I'm going to get a job, and so that's when you get a job out of a newspaper. And I remember that guy telling me I could work on BMWs for a living. So there was a job in there that said a BMW apprentice, earn while you learn. And what it ended up happening to be was a BMW auto recycler, a junkyard that took them apart.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'll apply for that job. I'll get a uniform and I'll show up in court in that. I always had this weird, keen sense of how to manipulate the courts like that, show up in a fucking, if I had to show up at jury trial in a fucking uniform, a work uniform, it was a big deal to have a job, back then it was an impression on people, so that's how I ended up at BMWs. I worked there a couple of years, and then I went to work for where I work now. I worked there for 5 years, got loaded for 5 years, and then I came back. I've been back there like 11 years now, and I run that place, but that's how it all started, was over a case. So even, if there's, shit in the fertilizer, the roses are still going to smell good if you grow them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened with me, I took advantage of a situation and got guided in a certain path, and then I just stuck with it. I liked it. I was like, hey, I'm making pretty good fucking money here. Even after they dropped the case on me, and they dropped the 3 strikes on him and offered him 7 years. He took the 7 years because he thought he was going to life, and they dropped the case on me. So that move fucked their 3rd strike case up, because I was threatening to take them to trial and drag it out for fucking, and all they wanted to do is put people in prison back then. It's the same thing. There was that people, when they started building prisons, they wanted to fill them. And then once they got them full, once they got that new law into effect, that 3rd strike, they wanted to fucking use everybody as example, and fucking, it worked. 3 strikes worked. And whether people like going in 3 strikes or not, it changed the fucking crime. The crimes went fucking way down because of that. But a lot of people went to prison for nothing too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there were guys in there for stealing Levi's.
There was one dude, there's somebody fucking he was doing a shot of dope in a bathroom. The fucking cops walked in and fucking, they put him in prison for life for that. That's fucking wrong.
There were guys that had residue in a baggie, 25 life, guys,
Yes.
no matter what you think about drugs or whatever. I mean, that's kind of bullshit,
Yeah, it was common, man, really common.
And that was Pete Wilson, our great governor, Pete Wilson.
Right.
Got a lot of,
Duke Majan, George Duke Majan, you can't forget about him.
Yeah, he started it, and then Pete started it through, and so on and so forth. But
it was the one that built them all. They all built them. They all did all that.
Got 33, 34 prisons in California. Well, they closed DVI, so.
Yeah, I think they're closing San Quentin too pretty soon.
I don't know. It's I don't know how
they closed all the CYAs, right?
No, I think there's 1 or 2 open.
It must be in Southern California. They closed
Ventura. I think Ventura's open, but Ventura was a co-ed college program for youth authority. So
right.
I think that might still be around, but it's, prisons are dismantling death row.
Right. Yeah. They've already, that's so weird to me that, so they give them death sentences and they let them sit in cells on death row. Well, if they let them into the general population, that's a death sentence too, because most of those people are going to get killed on the main line. There's a lot of fucking people there's fucking child murderers. Yep. There's fucking all, and they're going to put them on a main line. What do they fucking think is going to happen to them?
Death row, and not, when I started noticing, in mid to late 90s, when I went to prison, if you had a life sentence, that means you had a murder, attempted murder, shit like that. So I thought, gangster shit, because I'm in there for a murder.
Right.
Bar fight, we killed a dude in a motorcycle club, all that shit, and so I'm thinking, everybody's case is like that. But I started looking at people, man, and dudes had some fucked up cases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life without is the equivalent of death. It's the same capital murder. So I thought, man, there's some fucked up dudes in prison. And, I really started, all my friends were gone. I started kind of isolating myself from the rest of motherfuckers because, I don't like people trying to tell me how to fucking live. And I'm a biker. I grew up around motorcycles and shit, and I didn't like, you know, even though we used drugs and all that shit, we didn't consider ourselves dope fiends. We were bikers that fucking,
Right. Yeah,
it's
it's recreational use. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is that your transition to getting out, to you watched the prison transition way different than mine. I thought my transition in prison was bad, watching how just the CDC officials took it back over from us, convict committee and the white reps and all that stuff that we did, basically telling them this is what we're going to do, and either you're going to go against it or this is what's going to happen. To you seeing people, you know, being forced to exercise during the fucking day, or, you know, just the stuff that the other motherfuckers were trying to make people do. You know what I mean? It just seems so foul to me, the way people are in there now, like that you're going to have to do something.
Well,
oh yeah, right.
When you were in the joint and I was in the joint, I first when you were in there, like for the white dudes, speaking for whites, you know, white dudes didn't tell other white dudes what to do. Like, you know, I wore my shower shoes wherever the fuck I wanted to.
Right.
And if somebody told me I couldn't wear them, I would stab them.
Right.
Anyone would. If you tell someone, hey, you can't do this or you can't do that, you better be prepared, because the dude's going to come at you and stab you.
Right.
You know, or beat you in the head with a pipe. Now you got dudes saying, hey, you have to do this, and you have to roll your mattress up, and you have to be suited and booted, and you have to walk over here, and fuck, I got fucked that, you know.
Right, exactly. I never saw any of that stuff, thank God, because I'd probably still be in there.
But by the same token, the same motherfuckers that think they're militant, you know, and just running shit and all that, they let the fucking cops take over the prison system and fuck us out of every single thing that made life comfortable in there. We used to run them fucking prisons. Now they run them, and and it's just, you know.
Well, no, I don't think they're the people that are like, you know, trying to call shots now have anything to do with what happened when we were first started, because there ain't none of us left.
No,
there ain't very many of us left in there. So this is all new school stuff that you know. I remember when
fucking prisons.
I remember when Norteños, they're the ones that started the militant exercising in the hole. I was in the hole when they do it. They'd line up, they would do some calisthenics. I remember when that shit started. Now it's turned into white boys doing it and maybe blacks doing it. I don't know. I haven't been in there in a long time.
Yeah.
Now it's all of a sudden it's a fucking you know, it's an aerobics class. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
They let them take the weights from us.
Right. Yeah.
I went out to the yard and dudes were stacking weights on pallets so they could take them out with a forklift. I go, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
You're giving them our weights. And back in the 80s and early 90s, they would have stabbed them dudes for that.
We were in, yeah, I don't know so much about that. You know, that was probably part of their job or anything, but I remember coming to catching a violation, leaving. I think I left Tracy and caught my last where I discharged my number was from it's in Central California, Pleasant Valley, or something like that.
Yeah.
Pleasant Valley, yeah. It's right there in the middle of fucking nowhere. So I remember paroling from Tracy, and then catching a violation and going there to kill me the rest of my time. And there was no weights there. They had taken all the weights off the yard in that 6-month period that I was out, and it was all dip bars and pull-ups and shit.
I remember 83, somewhere around there in San Quentin, they had a work strike, a PIA work strike, and like, I don't know, 7 dudes, something like that, went to work. However many guys went to work, they stabbed all them dudes that night. Right. That work strike accomplished what they wanted. And then years later, I see them trying to have a work strike in Corcoran, and you know, they had to run around and pressure everybody for like a month, tell me, hey, we're gonna have a work strike. And the day before the work strike, they came and rolled up all the guys that were trying to do it, instigate it, you know,
and everybody else went to work.
and I, you know, it was a fucking joke, man.
Right. Yeah.
And I told them, what are you going to do? The guys go to work. You're going to stab them. They go, oh, we're going to beat them up. I go, it ain't going to work. You got to kill them, you know?
Right.
And so, I mean,
so it's funny, you know, a lot of stuff, memories pop up, but like in my day-to-day life, like I told you, you'll have to lead me into some questions. You'll have to ask me some questions. You associate with me all the time. We're really good friends. We do a lot of things together. if you didn't know who I was, you would never know that I've been to prison, right?
No,
I mean, I don't carry myself like that at all.
no, I try not to,
Right, right. No, I know. And that's why, so that was the best thing. So when I met you, I got introduced to you when you had a t-shirt booth at the swap meet, which
Yeah.
we all go to swap meets, every single swap meet. And then, so I was intrigued by you, you know what I mean? And then the next time I went over and made sure I said hello. But when we went last year, and I knew your story already. I talked to you, and then I had never seen your channel or anything, but I talked to you and knew your story. And then when it was brought to me, the role was closed. We weren't taking anybody else. I thought there was too many people. And when it was brought to me that you wanted to go, or there was a possibility, without hesitation, I wanted you to go because of where you'd been and what you'd done. And that's not only have we become really close friends, I want you to be able to see what we've done out here, convicts like us. We're able to do what we've done, and you want, because the men that you hang out with now with us are encouraging, they're giving, they're there for you. They're real, true friends. We are your true friends, and we'll never ever turn our backs on you. And that's what I wanted. I thought you'd be a perfect fit for us because you're the same way. You know what I mean? And we just don't let anybody fuck around with us.
I know that, and going on that ride last year was a blessing, and all the guys I met and become friends with, since have been a blessing in my life. I'll tell you that right now.
Mine too, man. You're all blessings in my life, and you guys are all my best friends. I can count on you. You know what I mean? And I don't want big circles. I have thousands of friends in the recovery, but the people that I want at my home and I want to do stuff with is very few. You know what I mean? So
that's the difference between living right and being, like when you're living in when you're not living right, and you're involved in criminal activity and that lifestyle. Most people say, yeah, it's a good motherfucker. What they really mean is you're a good resource.
Yeah.
For whatever it is that's going on. And now, living right, when someone says, hey, that's a good motherfucker, what they really mean is that, they like you, they like your personality, your character, and you're going to be there for them and they're going to be there for you. And you're not a resource, you're just a good person,
Right. Yeah. So it's just true. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
It is a beautiful thing. We get to do some fucking cool shit, bro. For the stuff that we do. I used to lay in a cell and read magazines and look at the bikes and at the cars and think, I'm gonna have to steal somebody's car to have a car like that. I never, or I'm never going to be able to build a bike without stealing 3 other ones and having the parts for them and stuff like that, because I didn't know any different. I didn't know that I was capable of earning that kind of thing. And you know what I mean? And helping other people earn it. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm fucking totally blessed, man. I fucking got a great family. I fucking very secure job, a very secure home. You know what I mean? And it's just fucking great. I get to do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? I can roll down the road, the cops can fucking pull me over, and there ain't going to be 3 more of them behind him. There's going to be that guy who's going to give me a ticket, and he's going to go on about his business, because that ain't my fucking life no more. You know what I mean? This is my life. Can you see my hands?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
This is my fucking hands all the time. Look at that.
Last year we went on that ride, and someone had an accident along the way, and we're on the side of the highway for a couple hours.
Right. Yeah.
And, the highway patrol was there.
Yeah.
And because got a motorcycle accident on the freeway, and the highway patrol, they didn't search us, they didn't search our bikes.
No.
They
were very helpful.
Yeah, they questioned our statements because they could look at us and go, "Hey, these dudes are not fucking, we look like savages,
bags and shit." You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a big difference, Right. But I mean, life's good. And
it is fucking great, man. And we got, and Mitch's subscribers if you don't know this yet, this Saturday morning we're fucking leaving. We'll be posting videos all along the way. Don't forget the super chats. That motherfucker's gonna need them because he ain't got no money.
I'm broke, but you know, I'm gonna do this
We'll take
right.
care of all that. You know, what I mean, we're good, man. We're all good. And that's another thing of like on the trip last year. You know, what I mean, fucking, you know, I make a good living. Fucking, I'm like, you know, I don't really know what Mitch has. This is the first ride we'd ever fucking been on. I'm like, hey, how much are your fucking t-shirts? I'll buy 5 of them right now. Here's the money. Send them to me later. Just to make sure that he could do the stuff. I mean, I didn't know. He could have had $1 million. I don't fucking know. You know, I'm just thinking of a convict that sells fucking t-shirts might need an extra $100. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, here's the deal. Like, I got a credit card. I never imagined I would have a credit card with a limit.
Right.
It's not that high, but it's not enough to allow me to go on a ride, you know? So
yeah, fuck, bro. It's going to be fucking awesome. I mean, the weather is going to change between now and then, but this video probably be shot after you'll probably show it after we get back, right?
I don't know. We'll see. It depends on the wife.
Maybe while we're gone.
We'll post while we're gone. We'll do some live
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
Right.
Why not?
I think she's got some old pictures of me too that she's gonna put up on the.
Yeah, we'll put some photographs from back in the day, and
Right.
yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Any final thoughts?
I wanted to, you know, can I give a shout out to Demons Row?
You can give a shout out.
Fucking Demons Row, man. You're a badass motherfucker, man. And I really appreciate you. When I was with my 1%er club coming up, those are the exact thoughts I had that you have. Motorcycle community's got to fucking come together, and these wars and these fucking these things that happen in these bars between two fucking prospects. I mean, they got to quit dictating how motorcycle fucking clubs dictate what they're going to do. They just can't do it. I mean, incidents are incidents. They need to be fucking worked out. And I fucking listen to Demons Row, and I'm like, from two motherfuckers that are so far apart, so far different worlds, we are so much in line with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a fucking motorcycle motherfucker. That's what I do. I just ain't with a club no more. I'm with my own club. So the thing is that dude is fucking right on target a lot of the time, man. And I appreciate him.
He's been on my channel, and I'm looking forward to eventually he does face to face. So
yeah, you told me he went on your channel, and I was fucking really happy to hear that, because that dude's fucking got a good voice. And if there's anybody here that's subscribing to Mitch, go to Demons Row. If you're into, even if you're not into motorcycles, go subscribe to his channel. And you know, you might not like maybe one thing that he's one show he does or whatever, but watch him 4 or 5 fucking shows and tell me what you think, because that motherfucker,
a lot of the stuff he says is not necessarily 100% pertaining to motorcycle stuff. It's just common sense. He talks
right. Yeah, exactly, man. He's on fucking target. He's on target, and I've tried to listen to some of those fucking biker dudes that are loud and obnoxious, because I have, you know, that's what where my interest is. You got a motherfucker that talks about the clubs and this and that. He names names and club names and all that shit.
Yeah.
You don't fucking name club names unless you're a fucking patch holder and you're talking about your club. That's fucking it.
Yeah.
You don't fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know,
what a club is doing is none of your fucking business unless you're in that club.
There's other guys that throw club names out and
believe me, I've had people against the wall for it in my life.
Yeah, I know. So, you know, any final thoughts before we close up?
Bro, just, you know, pray for us. We're going to be out on the road soon, and fucking, you know, I just want to thank my family, you, Mitch, and my best friends, and you know what I mean. And you know, without you guys, I wouldn't be fucking able to do the kind of things I do, because you know, I mean, it's fucking great, man. I got a great life. I got great fucking friends, and then you know, I also want to fucking you know, just shout out my wife Michelle. She's a unicorn wife. When I do these trips, or when I need to do something, she's got her own life. She's a teacher. She's got an in-home daycare. I mean, and she knows what I need. And I come back fucking rejuvenated. And she's like taking videos when I get home, big hugs. You know what I mean? Talks to me on the phone. I never have any fucking problems with her. And you know what I mean? And
so the thing is, like, I think the message I always like to get out is someone can go from where we were, because there's guys in that life right now, and they can go to where we are now.
Right.
You know, they can be a baller mechanic, they can be an artist, they can be a plumber.
Yeah, you go to wherever.
Roofer, you know, whatever, and have a
I
lot.
got fucking convicts that are working for the state of California. They're letting motherfuckers out of prison to go to work for the CDF now. You can apply for the California Department of Forestry or Fire or whatever if you've been in prison. They're opening it up for a lot of opportunities. You know
I
what I
have
mean?
a friend that's a Cal Fire worker right now. That was a
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's no fucking reason that you need to take that $200 and go to the connections house. You know what I mean? No more. You can fucking go do something for yourself and your family. You know what I mean?
And there's people out there that'll help you do it.
There's people that'll help you if you just ask the right people. There are a
And
lot
I
of
think
people
if
that
you've
want to
been
help
to
you.
prison and you live that lifestyle, you know, you have more opportunity and there's more people willing to help you than the guy who's never been to prison
Right.
and doesn't have them same resources available, you know?
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
is.
counseling for your issues,
Right.
help, job search, job training, whatever. I mean, it's available, and there's
Yeah, and if you're having a substance abuse problem, you know, or even if you're not, and you just need a fucking, you know, you're using a little bit or whatever, and it's affecting your life at all. There are NA and AA meetings and community-based meetings for all types of addiction all over around where you are, and they're just an internet button away. They're a Google search away, and they're very welcoming. And if you show up enough times to them, people will start getting to know your fucking name, and you'll start to know what real giving is, and because they give back. They're willing to give time and effort to help you get better. And then it comes with, you know, the showing up, and reliability comes with, there's a lot of business people in there, you know what I mean, that work, that they're recovering addicts that own companies and shit. You know what I mean? Most of my friends are fucking ballers. They got big time shit, because I've been doing it a long time. So I stick with the winners. You know what I mean? I've got my own path, but I mean, I know people that are millionaires that show up at NA meetings, you know, at least once a week. And then they spend time with people attempting to help them, you know, in recovery. So.
And they
Started there.
Some of the same places we've been.
Yes, they have. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I mean, our group of people, we're all successful in what we do. The group of men that we ride with is they got a plumbing contractor, one of two plumbing contractors, a roofer. Jimmy's retired now. I'm a master BMW tech with, I have my regular job and I have a side business. And then Mitch is a world-renowned artist.
Struggling artist, you know. Yeah, you know, like Jimmy says, you know, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm rich.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
You're part of what makes my life rich, brother.
Right. We're gonna be together tonight for a barbecue, and
sure.
It's gonna be fucking great. Can't wait. We got that pack. So Jimmy, the tour pack works on Jimmy's bike, so we'll get that other pack for you. I actually bought another one. There's two of them now. I bought one at the swap meet for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll close this out and get it up, and I'll see you tonight.
Hard intentions, baby.
Hard intentions.
Hard intentions. I got the whole set.
That's right. Thank you, brother.
Love you, brother.